Well, hi folks, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. A very quick video today. I've already restored a JVC RC-250LB on the channel, so do check that out. But today is just to look at a very specific issue with a different example. I've just changed the belt in another video as well, so check that one out too. A short and sweet video there. However, there is another issue with this particular model here, and that is that the sound is very intermittent, i.e. sometimes it's there and sometimes it's just not. So let's have a look at that now. So first I'll just put the cassette in and we'll have a little listen. So press play and there's absolutely nothing at all. No volume or anything like that. And as I say, I've literally just replaced the belt for a separate video and it was working okay then. So what I'm just going to do is tap around on the back, because I noticed there was something was happening when I was touching some of the switches, and I've isolated it now actually to somewhere here. There. So now the tape's working. That was quite easy to turn on there, as it were, by hitting the aerial. So if I just put the radio on just there, again, there's nothing at all. And if I just pop this somewhere around here, there you go. Let's have a listen. I'm going to put it onto medium wave. It's not tuned in per se, but there we go. It's just come on its own. And if I tap it again somewhere, there, gone, and it's coming back. There. So we think we've got at least, well, we definitely have got a dry joint somewhere. And I've looked at the switch. Originally, I thought it might have been the selector switch down there, or perhaps one of the switches on the back. But actually, it looks like it's literally down in here. As soon as I let this go now, it should probably, yeah, there we go. So we know the volume works, and I could tell that the tone was working. But of course, when we have got sound, other things work. Like, for example, if I go over to tape now, can you see what will happen? The tape should be running, but there's no sound. If I touch it there, it comes back. So we've definitely got just an issue with a dry joint now, I think, on the board. So what I'm going to do is take these screws out. I don't think I need to take the mech out. The mech itself is easy enough. There's just screws basically in the corners just there. But I'm hoping I might just be able to take the radio board out. On this particular model, should be nice and easy. We've got a screw just by the transformer there. And then we've got a second one, a third one, a fourth one tucked away just in the back there. And then I think we loosen this one just to detach the selector switch away, and that's all. So I think we'll just get the board out now and see what the issue is. They're actually quite nice little units, the 250LBs. I've probably got half a dozen or so here at the moment in various states of repair. So first up, we'll detach the screws. So yeah, as I say, it's a very specific loose connection somewhere, because it's on, off, on, off. It did all sort of disappear. To start with, I was touching various switches, as I say, and I thought I might have actually identified it weirdly to one here, but then I couldn't seem to get it back again from there. So turns out, when almost in desperation, but just trying everything else, I looked at the ferrite rod, and that was actually loose. Well, not loose, but it turned the sound on and back off again. The IC for the power amp, by the way, is just across there, because I had wondered if I'd just lost all power at one point, because all of the volume just dropped and would not come back. There was no output at all. But there we go. Right, so that's all of the screws off the board. I'm just taking this mech one out here because it does have a connector there. That one's soldered onto onto a cable, so that one's got to come away anyway. Right, also it does say to lose this one, so by putting it just to one extreme it will make it easier to line up a bit later. There we go, because I think that's got to come away like so. I'll just get the knobs off as well. Let's have a look. It's that battery connector there that's holding it. Right, okay. Right. Okay, well there's the board out. Now that's come away from the tuning capacitor there. You can see, possibly, if I just come in. So basically, we've just got to make sure we don't move that. Try not to move this, because the engagement obviously locks into there, so we don't want to touch that. Incidentally, it's quite a flat, quite a small speaker there, maybe a 3-inch, 3.2 ohm, 2 watts, so a very small little speaker there. Okay, so your power and selector switches are all across here, which are the ones I thought were loose. Then we've got the other switches here. Yeah, they don't look too bad, and to be honest, I think when I was touching them and tapping the board, I think what it was actually doing was flexing these. So I'm going to come in for a slightly closer look, I think. So yeah, I was touching some of the other switches and it was sort of working and not. And I think what it was ultimately is the board was just being knocked. So I think it was actually disturbing a weaker joint somewhere else. Now, which one that... I was going to say which one that is, I'm not sure. But I think I found it. May have found two, actually. I've got one there that doesn't look particularly clean anymore. But I think that is a crack. But it's definitely missing. Then we had that one there that looks a little bit sketchy. We've got one up here somewhere. I've got to catch it in the right light, but there's one up here somewhere that looked like it was mildly cracked. With the magnifying glass, they did look like there might be some very small cracks in there. Oh, there's one I think I can see. Hang on, let me just locate it again. In there, for example. So they might need doing. But then in terms of the aerial, those ones, which are the ones I really think are potentially problematic. Again, let me just try. I think it was along here. There we go. So I think it's that one there. Again, sorry, the camera won't go in all the way there, but that looks like that might have come away a little bit, potentially. Where are we? Just there. Yeah, so some of these just might be a bit ropey. I think what we're going to do, I think we're just going to flux some of these up, reflow them a bit, and put it back together and see what happens. I mean, it literally is just a handful of screws, so it'd be dead easy to see whether or not we fixed it anyway. So let's just go and do that now. So I went round in circles a little bit with this one, but came back to where I started in the end. Basically, no matter where I touched this, everything seemed to be a problem, but it couldn't be every single joint that's dry. So ultimately it came back to the switch. So what I've done is basically just resoldered the switch, and it turned out to be one of the contacts at this end, which is where I originally thought the issue was. So it chased itself around, and that one had obviously settled just as the aerial must have disturbed the board, and it's every time just a tiny bit of vibration. But weirdly, the part at the time that was actually the loosest had managed to get itself settled, and it was being upset by tapping it everywhere else. But anyway, I think I've isolated it now, so I'll clean up these joints in a moment. But just to show you, play and this is the tape now, and that's reliable now. When I was testing it just now, even touching the volume or the tone was just making it just go off all the time. But you can see now, if I just stop that a moment, and actually no, I'll let it play for a sec. But basically, you'll see if I tap it, you'll see that there's no interruption to the power. There's no crackling, no popping, no dropout. Everything's okay now. So that's fantastic. So we've sorted that. Actually, a dead simple job in the end. It was just a case of finding out which of the joints had gone. So as I say, I'm just going to clean this flux up and then we'll get it back together again. So there it is then, the JVC RC-250LB. As I say, just a very quick no frills video today, just to show you about what the dry joints can do on a board. We finally tracked that one down just to the selector switch, so it's all sorted now and it's totally reliable. And any little pops and taps on the chassis or anything like that aren't going to make it suddenly stop like it did before. So to that end, let's put the radio on. So we'll switch it over to FM. And you can hear the volume working without any issues. And the tone. So there we go.
Monday lunchtime.
I mean, there's just hundreds of channels. There's loads of stations there, so that's fantastic. And we'll just put it across to tape as well. And play.
And a very exciting one at that. To the Fix.
There we
a
go.
band which I've been raving about for years.
Good stuff. So as I say, I replaced the belt and cleaned the heads and stuff in a different video, so do check that one out with regard to the tape function. But yep, so that's it now. The tape's working, the radio's working, the circuit is now sorted, no dry joints, everything's working beautifully. Just need to give her a clean and that will all be done. So thanks very much for watching. Please do subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates, and I'll be back soon. All the best for now. Bye bye.